Welcome back. The political fun continues. Actually, I suppose I should use the term governance. It's not about politics. It's about making the very best Park City that we can. And tonight, one of our mayoral candidates joins me. I'm sure that you know him. You see him around town. He's a visible fellow. He's been on the city council and now is putting his hat in the ring for mayor. It's Andy Beerman. Welcome, sir.
Hi, Terry.
Nice to see you. Absolutely. Good to see you again. So let's start with a little background on your decision to run. Obviously, you've spent time on the city council. You're a business owner here in town. Talk about how you felt the transition should be made from simply being, not simply, but being on the city council. That's an important job in and of itself. But throwing your hat in to run for mayor.
Okay. Well, I've been in Park City for a while now. Next year will be my 20th year.
Wow.
It's gone quickly, and I've had a lot of fun along the way. I built a business in town. I run the Treasure Mountain Inn and own a sizable portion of that, and got more involved a few years ago with the community. Once I got my business to sort of a cruising altitude where I could give back, I started to participate, got involved with the business community, and I started going to city council meetings. And that was about 3.5 years ago. After 2 years of going to meetings, I decided to run and was elected to city council, and I've served on council for the last 1.5 years. It's been fun, it's been interesting, and most importantly, I feel like we're getting really meaningful things done right now. Park City has great challenges and great opportunities, and I've been enjoying it. I've been sitting close to the mayor, watching his job. When he decided to retire, I thought this is something I'd be interested in pursuing. I really do. I believe it's the best job in town. Henry and I were talking about that prior to the show, that Park City has so much going for it. Most cities look at us and they go, your problems, they're first world problems. They're great things, like how do you buy more open space or build more trails, or how do you take something that's really good and make it just a little bit better. And I like those challenges, and I think I'm well suited to the role.
Well, it's certainly very true. We're incredibly fortunate here, and I'm sure that Dana Williams would agree with you that it's the best job in town. What do you see as the primary, and I don't want to use the word problems because I don't think that's necessarily applicable or casts the right light on the opportunity to lead the city, but talk about what things you might like to raise up the list of priorities in terms of where there could be more focus now than there is or there has been.
Okay. Well, I think in a resort town like Park City, where people move here for the quality of life, preserving that quality of life is always at the center of everything you're trying to do. I think some areas we can focus on right now, one of them is regional collaboration. I look at most of our growth-based challenges, our water challenges, open space, recreation, they're all very regional. They're somewhat complex, and I think we need to work well with our neighbors, particularly with Summit County and Wasatch County, and work with the Wasatch Front as well. There's one project in particular that I'm really excited about, which I serve on a committee called the Wasatch Summit, which is looking at ways to connect the Wasatch Front and the Wasatch back, potentially light rail. And that looks at ways that we might also connect our ski resorts, which up here I'm particularly interested in.
And I will confess not to being terribly familiar with the Light Rail Initiative and Wasatch Summit, but obviously in the context of the already heightened emotions around Ski Link, talk about your feelings toward development in general and kind of weighing the benefit of a more interconnected Wasatch Front and back. And of course we all know anytime that we want to get to, not just to Salt Lake, but perhaps more down toward the point of the mountain, that there can be some frustration with time and traffic and all those kinds of things. But talk about balancing environmental concerns and opportunities.
It's a great question, because Ski Link started this whole conversation, but it's no longer really part of the conversation. Ski Link was portrayed as a transportation solution, which is something we really need, particularly on the other side of the Cottonwood Canyons. There are holiday weekends, it's up to a 3-hour wait in Little Cottonwood Canyon.
It's terrible.
To get up and down. And not only are they spoiling the quality of that canyon with the cars, but they're really hindering those businesses, and they're looking for solutions. So what happened is, out of the Ski Lake controversy, a group of mayors from Salt Lake, I represent Park City, some representatives from UTA, Chris Robinson's there from Summit County. We all got together and convened a group called the Wasatch Summit. And the Wasatch Summit is really looking at a comprehensive solution. And that comprehensive solution is going to take real transportation needs into account. It's going to take wilderness into account. Water is a very sensitive issue which we're trying to work around. And then also recreation. And that includes some over-the-snow connections. And we're trying to come up with a environmentally sensitive way to connect all these things in a way that truly acts as a transportation plan. Ski Link so far doesn't really even come into those conversations. We don't view that as a key component. It's one that might get discussed, but it seems like it's sort of fallen on its own sword at this point.
Well, and I suppose, nicely played. I have to say that I think that one of the most important things with regard to this large conversation is that we have it and that we try to eliminate the rancor as much as possible and be very serious about addressing the reality. And I think citing the traffic issues in Cottonwood Canyon are just, it's beyond the pale.
And if I can bring it closer to home, I think if you look at Park City, we don't have a lot of models to look at in the U.S. as far as what a mature resort town looks like.
True.
But Europe has some amazing resort towns. You look at a town like Zermatt and a variety of ones in Switzerland and France that really have gotten away from the car. And I think if Park City wants to continue to grow and evolve in a positive way, we need to build a town that's less reliant on cars. And that's going to take all kinds of connectivity. I think that's walkability, bikeability, it's continuing to improve our great bus system, it's over-the-snow connections at the resorts, it's gondolas that come down to our commercial centers, and perhaps it's even a light rail that connects us to the airport so people don't even need to get in a car or a shuttle to come up here. So that's kind of my hope that's the direction Park City will mature over the next 20 years.
Sounds fantastic.
Thanks.
Before we go, we got a busy show tonight, but and we'll be back hopefully if we can fit in your schedule. I know you're going to be ramping up the campaigning, but any parting shots as far as things that you would like folks to know out in the viewing audience as far as priorities or maybe voting decision variables, as it were?
Okay. Well, I think there's some great choices this year for both City Council and for the Mayor's job. I think my strength is going to be my age and my experience. I think I'm somebody that has a nice sweet spot in that I've got good business experience. I have several years on council, so I've got relationships built and experience with all the issues in front of us. I think that'll work to my advantage, and I think I also have a lot of energy and enthusiasm and passion for the community. And I think I'd be able to bring that to the job.
Well, anybody who knows you knows that energy and enthusiasm are certainly traits that you have in spades, and no matter what happens, those will be things that Park City will continue to benefit from. We appreciate you being here, and let's make an agreement that we're going to do this again soon, and we'll get a little more in depth as things come into focus as the campaign comes closer, as voting day comes closer, and we very much appreciate you being here.
I'll look forward to it.
Thanks, Andy.
Thanks.
Andy Beerman, candidate for mayor. We're going to take a